code everything.
Alright guys, we are back in Codecademy. It's been a fucking while. We're gonna learn Angular tonight. Let's go. Oh shit, I can't wait. Alright, so Angular works off a model view controller type of thing. What we're basically gonna do is first create our application. You can see right here we have it set up. We're gonna go ahead and run that, make sure we get our check mark. Cool, so we're basically just starting it off here. They gave us a little bit of something. We're also going to go ahead and create this body ng app. Ng app is basically just going to be us telling it what is going on here. So what app are we looking at? We're looking at my app. And notice how this is the name of the module for it. And this is our app. Go ahead and run that one more time. Alright, so what's up next? So next we have to set up the controller. The controller is, the way I like to think of it, is where we do things. This is how we send the data. The controller gives us the data, and also we send the data and do things with the data. That's how I like to think of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to target the variable app we've created. We're going to say app.controller. We're going to name it. We're going to name it main controller. So this is all we're doing here. We're naming it. And then we're going to go ahead in an array. We're going to find scope. Scope is going to kind of be like our data. And then we're going to run a function that does something with that scope. So from there, what we're going to do is that's going to be our function, essentially. And then we're going to close this statement. So in here, you're going to see that we have a scope.title. So we're basically going to say, hey, yo, for data, go ahead and set that title of the data to top sellers in books. That's what we're basically saying here. So scope.title equals top sellers in books. Oops, try to save it. Excuse me, bad habit. Let's go ahead and run that. Oh, let's go ahead and try with single quotes. Maybe that was my mistake there. Make sure you spell sellers correctly as well. Huh. So we have app.controller, main controller, comma. Oh, it looks like we have to put our scope variable in single quotes as well. I think that might fix our error here. What in the hell? Oh, I see what's going on. No, we're good. Alright, so we don't have a closing bracket for this. That's where our error is here. Alright, let's go ahead and run that. Finally, one more time. What the shit? So we have app.controller, main controller, comma, the array that takes in our scope, comma, function. We pass in scope here. We get scope.title, top sellers in books. Let's see if it's this line right here. Run that shit. One more. Control Y, Control Z, Control Y. I don't think that's the line. So let's go ahead and see here. What happens when we put this in? Oh, you know what? It might be because we didn't close our body tag as well. Let's go ahead and see if this does it. Oops. Yeah, let's see what's going on here. What? Alright, let's see what... We'll give that a pass. I understand what we're supposed to do. I'm not quite sure why it didn't work, though. So we're creating our module. Both the controller, main controller, and view index.html have access to scope, or our data, or the things we're going to change, the data we're going to change between the controller and the view. The view is essentially how it's going to display. If you're logged in, you're going to have a different view than what it would be if you were logged out. So think of it that way. Now, if one setting is checked, that's going to display differently than a setting that's unchecked. So just kind of think of the view in that way. In the controller, change the value of title to your own string. So I don't know that so this is our index. So basically this is our HTML. This is our controller. This is where we're gonna change it. Now it should change in the main controller. So in index, we should change our title. Well, we set our title here. This should get our title. And we're going to say scope.title equals top sellers in books. What is going on here? This should work. That should work. Let's see what's going on. Oh, change it to our own string. So let's go ahead and say, I see what's going on here. Alright, so we'll say Dylan. Dylan is not yet a dev. Sad face. We'll say that. My heart is broken. So you'll see that it changed because we set it in here. Likewise, any properties attached to scope will become available to use in the view. In the controller, attach promo to scope and set its value to your string. Set promo, attach promo to scope. So let's see here, Control F. Let's see if it says attach anywhere else. So in main controller, we create main controller. Our controller manages the apps data. Here we use the property title, source string, and attach to the scope. Okay, so I think what we want to do here is target scope dot promo, and we're going to set it equal to a string value of hello. Hire. We'll set it. We'll do the Dylan wants to be a dev theme. Hire me as a dev senpai. Alright, now when we run that, it should display that in wherever the promo section is. It doesn't look like we've called it anywhere quite yet. So in the view, add an H2 element and use the expression display promo. So that's what we're going to do right now. So we're going to go ahead and go in the... I think we can do it, if I understand correctly. And again, I have limited experience with Angular. I've had about a 2-hour tutorial from a friend and coworker. So let's go ahead and go here. And basically what we want to do is we want to say, hey man, we want to use Angular. So that's why we're throwing up the brackets. And check out what our promo is, baby. Damn it. I don't think it would matter if we had a promo version here. Inside the div class main, we access scope in the view. So JS, this is our app.js, we have our index.js. So apparently this isn't what they wanted us to do. In the view, under the H1 element, add an H2 element, use an expression to display promo on the page. I'm pretty sure I'm doing that. Let's see here. That's our exact code! What the shit? That's it. That was our exact code. So I think maybe there might have been... This might have been a Codecademy thing where you need to put a space after. So this was our exact code. So let's go ahead and continue on. The important thing is that we kind of understand what we need to do here. So now we want to add more data to the controller and display them in the view. In the controller, attach another property to scope named product. So we're going to attach a new property to our scope. So scope and the property, then we're going to say product. And what we're going to do here is we're going to set it equal to the object. And within the object, we're going to have a key value pair going on here. We're going to have name, and when you call .name, it's going to output the value, the book of trees. And then we want another key here called price, and we want to put a value on that of 19. Notice how we don't put a thing on here. So let's go ahead and run that. So that's our scope.product. Cool. The index, so in our view here, inside the P class title, we want to put product.name. So it's going to work exactly the same, except now we're going to call product.name instead of just title. And that's because we have an object and we're going to find the item, the key, to call the value of that object. So name, the book of trees, price 19, and index.html P class title. So where is our title? Control F, title, there it is. So then in the index of P class title, access the product's name with product name. So if you remember, we just do the brackets like so, and then we can do product.name. Oops, sorry. I've been using an IDE a lot more lately, so I've been control saving everything all the time. So it looks like the book of trees came up. In the P class price, display the price. So if you remember, again, that's just going to be product.price, and it should come up as $19. So let's go ahead and do this. We'll do again, I apologize for that. Let's go ahead and run that. Very nice. It looked right here. So we have the title, and then we have 19. Cool. So currently the product price shows up as a number. It would be better to format as currency rather than change the data in the controller. Let's use an Angular filter to format the data. So in our index.html, what we want to do is use, we want to change it using a AngularJS filter. Cool, so it looks like they have some part of the library built up to work as currency. Let's go ahead and run that. And you'll notice that it's set up as our currency with $1 and some cents behind it. That's very helpful. I really do like that. Comes in with a few more built-in filters. All right, cool. So let's learn a little about the filters. So we have scope.product, add a third property named publish date or pub date. So the way we add another property is put a comment after the last one here, and then we're going to call it pub date. This is our key for our value here called, which is a new date object. And the date object takes in 3 parameters. One, the string 2014, followed by the string 03, followed by the string 08. Very nice, very nice. So we run it. I think we should be good here. Whoa, hey. Oh, no semicolon, no semicolon. Let's see here, baby. Alright, cool. So in our index.html, we want, for our date, we want to go ahead and set that. So we want to display the... Now, I think what's going to happen here is we're not going to actually display it correctly. It's going to come out pretty ugly. So we want to say product.pubdate. So call the product object and call the key for our pub date. So when you run this, it's going to output this very ugly thing here. Now, format the product, so by piping it to the date filter. So I'm not familiar with that term piping, but I would imagine that this pipe looking slash, and then we can say date, might fix it. Good for them. Look at that. April 8th, 2014. I like that. And then format using the uppercase filter. So if I had to imagine, we would probably put a comma, then uppercase. Let's see if that does the trick. It does not. So look, it outputs it right here. So we broke what we were doing. So maybe it would be another pipe here. And if that doesn't work, we'll go ahead and test a... So that seems to work. Alright, so to call multiple filters, we now know that we just need to put another pipe, as they call it. So in the controller, delete the scope.product object. So we're just going to go ahead and delete our entire product here, and then run it. Now what it wants us to do is create a new scope named products. So we're gonna recreate this, and we're gonna set it equal to an array of objects. That's what's gonna happen here. So because we're gonna have multiple objects, we're gonna set it equal to, here's our array. We're gonna just make some space here, and then in our objects, we're gonna separate them like so, and then we're going to put in some information. Now I'm just going to copy and paste one of these, and then we'll go on from here. Now from here we have a name, so we're setting the name key, and we're setting that to program or be programmed. Alright, I like that. Then we're going to put a comma to separate the key and value. So we're going to go then put price 8, we're setting the price of it, comma, going to set the key to pub date. I'm just going to copy this last part in. So we have pub date, and then we have apparently the cover URL, the relative URL, because as you can see, there is no other things going on. There's no www. This is the relative URL. So when we run that, let's see what happens. Alright, so in the view inside div class main, delete the div class call medium 6. So we have call medium 6, and it wants us to delete the class. Alright, so let's go ahead and find this and the next div, the next ending div, I should say, excuse me, and replace it with the HTML type in the contents. Okay, so it looks like they just want us to add this class right here. Sorry, it's taking me a second to read through it. So we just want to go ahead and add this new class, and we're going to add the directive ngRepeat. So ngRepeat is kind of like the for each loop of other languages. Essentially what it's going to do is iterate through our array of objects and then output it. So remember our product here, products, we're going to eventually iterate through that. So it's, where do we iterate through? ngRepeat is, in Java this would be an I perhaps for iterate. So basically for each item in our array products, output the product.name, output their name followed by the price, filtered by the currency, so put it in the currency form, and then publish the date, then filter that so that it looks like a date, and then also make it uppercase. So let's go ahead and run that. So you'll see here, now we have our first book with the price and our second book with the price. Pretty cool. Alright, the problem now is that both products have the same image. Let's fix this. So inside our div, where instead of hard coding our image source in there, what we actually want to do is we're going to create an image tag, and then we're going to use the directive, the Angular directive ng-src, and we're basically in here going to do exactly what we've been doing, except now we're using a directive to be able to display the cover. So what's going to happen is Angular is going to find that URL in the JavaScript object and then use it to display the HTML. And now we have two different covers. Pretty cool. So in the controller, we want to add our favorite books. Add two of our favorite books to the scope products array. So I didn't think about this. Let's see here. From memory, we will do name, Ender's Game, comma, and then in cover, or excuse me, price. So far they've done nothing, no decimals, so let's go ahead and throw some decimals. And then publish date. Let's go ahead and look that up real quick. We'll just say 1995. That's my best guess. And then cover, just because I don't want to look for an image, we'll go ahead and follow the same URL path as this guy. And also, just in the interest of time, we will go ahead and copy pasta this one more time. And we don't forget our comma here. Let's go ahead and run that. So we just created two new objects in our products array. So now it's going to iterate through that because in our index.html we have it set up to iterate through every product in products. So you'll see that we have multiple, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have 4, which is what we have in products. We have 4 products. Cool. So in the controller scope.products array, add a new property called likes to each element. Set all likes properties to 0. So in the controller here, we're going to then add a new property, and it looks like we're going to add it to each one of these. So we're going to set likes 0, and we're going to copy pasta. Copy pasta. Copy pasta. Let's go ahead and run that. Cool. So we've added a new property to our products class here, or our products array. So in the view under p class date, let's go ahead and type a rating element. So we're going to go ahead and set p.likes. Ratings. Let's go ahead and find rating. Rating. Oh, excuse me. So under date is actually what we're looking for. We're going to create this. Let's go ahead and just copy that in. So inside the class likes, it's going to display products likes using an expression. Cool. To be honest, I'm not fully sure what they're talking about here, but let's go ahead and find that out in the view under p class date. All right, so I believe we're in here. I think this is. I'm not sure if that's where they want that. Also, I'm looking at this. I'm pretty sure this needs to be in there. It's going to run that. Huh. Let's see where we messed up here. Oh, so yeah, so that needed to be fixed. We did that. They don't have uppercase on it. I don't know why. But then here is our rating, and let's do this last part. So our rating was below the paragraph, but within there. But I thought we did that. Div class rating, likes, and a plus. So let's go ahead and take out this ng-click because we didn't do that. So ng-click is everything you think it would be. It's a click parameter. So you'll see right here that nothing's happening when we click it. Now what we want to do here is then call the directive ng-click. What do we want to call it? +1 on that index. So let's go ahead and run that. So you'll see every time we click this, it's now increasing. Cool. So let's go ahead and move forward. Index is kind of like this. It just does what it's on that object. So in the controller, in the scope products, array add a new property named dislikes to each element and set dislikes to 0. Alright, so we're just going to do exactly what we did a second ago. Set dislikes 0. From here, we are then gonna run this, make sure we're doing everything correctly. Alright, so we set a new property to our array products in our controller, and now what we want to do in the view, so we're going back to the HTML document, add an element p dislikes, then add the product's dislike to. Alright, so we're going to add it into rating outside here. So we're going to have dislikes. We're going to create a p class. We're going to say class equals dislikes. And display product dislikes using an expression. And we'll go ahead and say dislikes. Excuse me, product dot dislikes. Oops, excuse me there. Let's go ahead and run that, and it should display our dislikes. So here we have 0. This is our dislikes because our other one we can click. So back in our controller, we're then going to attach a new property called -1. So let's go ahead and start here, comma, the new property -1. From here, we're just going to set it name -1. Set it equal to a function that adds to a product's dislikes property. Adapt the code from +1 function to do this. So here we have a +1 function. Alright, I like this. So, what this is going to say is scope.+1. So if you remember back in the HTML, we have this +1 function. This is saying on click, run the +1 function with the current thing that we're iterating through. So what we want to do here is we want to change our +1 function to say, look, change our scope dot products for the index that we're on, for the item that are Angular, basically the array that we're on. Target the array. That's all that's happening right here. Target the array item we're on and say dot dislikes plus or equal to 1. Set it equal to itself. And now when our page reloads here, I didn't do that right. Alright, I think I dropped an S here, so I apologize for that. Let's go ahead and run that one more time. Perhaps I still did not do that right. Plus equals 1. Yo, man, what's going on here? I'm pretty sure we're right. Maybe they want us to write a new... Actually, let's go ahead and see. I think they wanted us to add the... Yeah, they want us to create a new one. That makes sense. Alright, so where my mistake was I was thinking they wanted to add it to the +1. They actually want us to create a separate function called -1. So let's go ahead and do the thing that they skipped over here. So basically what happened was we just called our directive here called ng-complete. So we're going to erase that. What we want to do in our paragraph dislikes here is we want to call ng-click. So on click, when you click something via our Angular application here, we want it to run the -1 function and run that on the current index of the array. That's what's going on here. Now we run this. Oh, and then make sure you output our stuff. So we want to put output product.dislikes. And run it. Cool. And that's it, man. We've earned our first lesson, completed our first Angular application. Things to keep in mind. You're going to be storing a lot of objects and arrays. You're going to need to fully understand the controller in view. View is essentially how the page displays and under what circumstances. Controller is the information that it sends to that view. And it's going to get a lot more complicated as I understand it. So I hope you guys found this helpful. This is really, other than a 2-hour tutorial, my first time. And I really like it, and I can see how I will continue to focus on Angular. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe and support me on Patreon. I appreciate it a ton. Happy Cinco de Mayo, baby.